Welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your co-host here with my boy.
Oh, Jesus.
You gave out. You finally gave out. It finally got to you, man. Deep dive fatigue. It's done.
It's Soltero right here, guys.
Boys and girls, this will be our last deep dive for the next 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Who knows where this channel will be? Who knows where we will be by that point? If we make it, bro.
If we make it, bro. Holy shit. 3.5 years is a
long time, man. A long time. We will not be doing another deep dive until then because this is a World Cup exclusive. This is what we are about. I remember in 2018, we did this before. And I'll look for the files and I'll see if I can insert a little snippet from those deep dives. I think I have them on my computer.
Okay.
Oh, hello. And welcome to my final installment of the 2018 World Cup in Russia analysis that we've been doing. It has been an absolute honor, a true pleasure. I thank you, I bow to you, I applaud you, I shake your hand, sir. It has been so fun. We agree on things, we disagree on things. It's a perfect balance. And yeah, last time, I'm so down for a podcast. Really am.
For the final, I have France facing off against Spain. And the winner of the 2018 World Cup is Spain. That is my prediction, sir. I am all on board with this Spain team winning. France will unfortunately knock Mexico out in the semifinals. And Spain will knock out Germany, the defending champions, in the semifinals. I gave you the best I could. Here's hoping that in 2022, I can put on an even better performance as a podcaster. Let's fucking do it, dude. But we did this in 2018, just between you and me, and we decided to share it to the world this time around in 2022. And my God, man, the support that we've gotten, we just saw the numbers. We've doubled up in views and subscribers ever since starting the deep dive. So
it's good to hear.
A huge thank you to every single person that has seen our content, specifically our deep dives. It means the world to us. And it just blows my mind, man. It boggles my mind that so many people will sit down and actually watch us just talk about this beautiful sport, man. Yeah. We gave it everything we got this past month, man.
Shit.
I don't know how we pulled it off, but we are finally here to the last final team, man.
Yeah.
Anything you got to say on just this whole journey?
No, it's been really fun, genuinely. And you already said what I wanted to say. We've done this before, you know. The difference now is that maybe even a little bit more in depth, honestly, so we could provide a little bit more entertainment for any viewers that do appreciate what we have to offer. But at the end of the day, man, so fun to do. Absolute pleasure to talk about the best footballers on the planet and just to see. Just to predict what might happen, to talk about all these narratives. It's so fun to analyze, just even from a personal perspective. You know I love the sport.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you love the sport.
I know you do.
So at the end of the day, I again, one viewer could watch this video or 1,000. I really don't care because even without this pod, I'd be doing the same goddamn thing. Yep. That's the thing. Yep. That's the beautiful thing, bro.
You'd be doing it to some homeless man or something, bro. Yeah, you'd be.
Hey, have you seen Serbia? I need to tell you something.
I need to tell you something. Yeah. Honestly, the buildup has been insane. And we're now, I think we're 6 days away as of recording. By the time this is out, it'll probably be 4 days left.
Jeez, bro.
We're here. It's here, bro. It's here. And I just can't believe it, man. It feels like Christmas again.
Yeah, no, it really does. And again, I'm so honored to have done this with you, with producer Rudd. It has been an absolute pleasure, bro. And yeah, I'm glad you said it because I do want this to be a World Cup exclusive. I never want to go in depth in national teams like this unless it's the World Cup. I know Euros is going to be in between. I know the Copa America is going to be in between. I understand that. Gold Cup even. And we'll cover them, but
we'll cover for sure.
Slightly less as far as like in-depth analysis. Because again, these deep dives, I want to leave them for the World Cup.
Unless we get picked up by a network. So ESPN, Fox, if you're watching, man. We'd love to do. We'd figure it out then.
Well, that's another thing. Maybe if we get some more subscribers, low key. Maybe because we've been working really hard, bro. We were really hard. So to do this for every major tournament, at least with what we have right now, would be a little tough. To be completely honest.
Just for a little info on how we managed to pull this off, we are a 3-man team.
Yeah.
Reynoso, Soltero, and producer Rudd. Wave your hand, producer Rudd, in the cam, please. There you go. I'll start with myself. Personally, my role throughout these whole deep dives has been
being your co-host, researching, prepping up for the show, doing the intro and the outro, but editing as well. It was funny. We've been getting messages on our Instagram saying, yo, y'all's media team is going off. Y'all's media team is carrying. Y'all's doing crazy. And I'm like, brother, I am the media team.
Yeah.
I have been
It's a one-man job.
It's a one-man job. I've been editing all these videos, putting them together, working on the thumbnails, doing the TikToks at the same time. It's been grueling, but so entertaining, so fun. And the high I get, man, when I upload a video and I see that progress bar finish and then I see the views come in, it's like no other, bro. But likewise, you've been working your ass off too, man. Tell them about what your role has been this whole time.
Ass off, bro. No, but again, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I actually do want to double thank you, bro. Mm-hmm. Thank you for all the work that you've done to get these videos out. I know that the people obviously have been very appreciative, man. And I hope they do understand how much work you've been putting in to,
thank you, brother,
to complete all 32 teams for this World Cup. Every single video has been done solely by Reynoso. I want people to really understand that.
Appreciate
As
that,
for
brother.
me, if you don't know, I actually have a full-time job. I work 40 to 50 hours a week, and then I also have to do this podcast. But again, football is something that I actually don't have a choice in. I have to watch it. And so it's, again, I already said it, it is natural for me to talk this way about any team, whether it's international or club, whether they're a big team or a small team. It is natural for me to cover teams in this manner. So yeah, I'm really, really busy doing it. But again, it's just so much fun. And I don't have a choice, man. I really don't. I have to do this or I'm not living.
Producer Rudd, want to welcome you onto the show to talk about your role here, because while we've been doing all of this, we've also had a crazy important third member of this team be as clutch and as timely as possible, scheduling it out, figuring out how to produce these shows. It's producer Rudd, baby. This man can figure it all out, and I want to get some words from him.
Hey guys, it's producer Rudd. So my role here basically is I'm behind the camera. I help set up all the lights, all the computer, all the cables, basically as we're getting ready here for every shoot. So every time that you see the episodes, I'm somewhere in the back switching cameras. Actually can't switch them right now unless if Reynoso wants to give an example of what that's like. Yeah, there we go. That's the magic behind the scenes.
There we go.
Shout out to these two huge superstars. Soltero, working hard every day, full-time job, and still putting in the extra shift of coming down here, making the drive through traffic, taking the time.
Fuck, man, don't remind me. Jesus Christ.
And still being able to deliver time and time again. So I toast to you, good sir. Secondly, to my brother Reynoso, just an insane amount of work ethic that this young guy has. So being able to, of course, do the deep dives, and on top of that, doing all the editing for the full episodes and the shorts and everything you see on TikTok and Instagram and all the other reels there. Just as for myself, just fun facts. So I'm a professional magician. I perform every weekend on Rainy Street doing some magic. And so my job basically starts and ends once the cameras get set up and the show ends. But I know for you, doing the research for all the teams and also for Reynoso researching and, of course, doing the editing. So just huge respect. So much fun.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to understand there is not a single technical difficulty that this guy cannot figure out. Every single problem that we've had, producer Rudd has come to the rescue. So the best producer, hands down, on all football podcasts. I'm going to say that right here, right now. Thank you for your service, producer Rudd.
And thank you. Always happy to serve this podcast and serve this nation.
So with that being said, man, let's talk about the last remaining team, the 2018 runner-ups, Croatia, who won our heart at the 2018 World Cup after an incredible performance, extra time victories, penalties, shootouts. It didn't matter. This team fought as hard as they could, and they went on a magical run in 2018. They have returned in 2022 to potentially seize what should have been theirs in 2018. They've made 6 World Cup appearances in total now, including 2022. In 1998, they landed in 3rd place, losing 2-1 to eventual champions France. And then from 2002 to 2014, group stage exits. No success for the Croatian side. And that's the Croatia I got to know growing up, where I just didn't think of them as a really strong European force, just a group stage exit type of team. Yeah. But then 2018 happened. And as I just said, that completely shifted everything I could have imagined about Croatia. Just a really magical run that cemented Luka Modric into both World Cup glory, but also footballing glory, becoming one of the greatest midfielders to ever play the game, up there with the names of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. Any player you can think of, Luka Modric technically can match up to that level. He's a little bit older now, but regardless, he was still able to lead this Croatian side through UEFA qualification, getting first in Group H with 7 victories, 2 draws, 1 loss, a total of 23 points, 21 goals for, 4 goals against. This group was interesting because it had Russia, Slovenia, and Slovakia in it. And I remember texting you and being like, bro, there's 4 teams here with red, white, and blue flags on them. Really bizarre, man. They qualify to 2022 Qatar by landing themselves in Group F with what is being considered possibly the group of death with Morocco, Canada, and Belgium. That's Croatia, man. A team that has a really impressive history, a team that has a lot of heart and has a notoriously an iconic jersey to accompany this country with that white and red checkered pattern. Croatia's back, man. And people are wondering if they're truly capable of being able to do and recreate what they managed to do just 4 years ago, because I think it's kind of gone under the radar that this team has actually sort of transitioned youth very well into this team. And most teams would falter after a run like that, but they actually have a lot of talent still that could potentially take them on a really impressive run yet again here in 2022. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and just overall how you're feeling about this team going into the tournament.
I'm going to say this first. This Croatian team in 2022 is better than the team in 2018.
Like that.
Immediately.
Like that.
Like that. And let me tell you why. I don't remember when, but in one of our previous deep dives, I think you were talking about Croatia and saying how realistically they kind of just rode Modric's back to the final appearance. And obviously there were other players who did show up in big moments. I'm talking about maybe Ivan Perisic, Mario Mandzukic, for example. So it wasn't just Modric, but we saw what Modric did. His performance led him to a Ballon d'Or. That's how good Luka Modric was in 2018 World Cup, bro. But here's the thing. When you look at these 11 that Zlatko Dalic sets out, especially over these last couple of months, the supporting cast is better. They're more talented. Yes, they might be a little bit less proven, but I think the talent is surely better than the supporting cast that was there in 2018. And here's what's crazy. The big core that made Croatia successful in 2018 is still there. And I mean big in a talent sense. It's actually only a select few players that are still here 4 years later, and you already touched upon it. The transition from the veterans to the youth has been very impressive from this Croatian side. There was a moment maybe 2 years ago where the Croatians were asking for Dalic's head, essentially. It was not looking good. There was a string of really uninspired results. What did Dalic do? He said, look, I'm going to freshen up this team. I'm going to call up players like Souza. I'm going to call up players like Juranovic. I'm going to give Kovacic his due playing time that he's deserved over these last couple of years, because now there's no longer Ivan Rakitic, right? And Kovacic in his prime. But he's still going to rely on these big players like Perisic and obviously the one and only Luka Modric. You combine all of these really good youthful players and couple them with these stud veterans, this is a better team than it was 4 years ago. Whether they have the same grit, that is to be seen. But from a skill perspective, this team is more talented.
So let's talk about God himself, man. Let's start in the midfield with Luka Modric.
Yeah.
Let me just go straight there.
Let's go straight there.
This man, what is there left to say, bro? What is there left to say? How can I fulfill a 2-minute time slot of hyping up a player when it comes to Luka Modric, man? He's won everything at the club level that can be won. 5 Champions League victories, throw in league titles as well, cups, and then the best thing of all, that deep run in 2018 leading him to the Ballon d'Or, ending the streak of Messi and Ronaldo winning that trophy between each other. That in itself is one of the most craziest things that Modric has to his name on his resume, is the fact that he was able to do that. He will be their captain, will be leading this team. And what's amazing, what I do want to point out is that he actually hasn't dipped in quality, man.
Nope.
37 years old, but you watch him play every single week, he is the same goddamn player. Maybe he's a little slower, maybe he's a little bit more limited, but You cannot take the ball away from him. He still has that knack to just control and dictate the pace of a game for a full 90 minutes. He is a legend for this country and for this team. And with this being officially his last World Cup, I am fully confident that he is going to go out in the international stage putting up a hell of a performance.
Wow. Yeah, I honestly don't have much to add. That was incredible. Absolutely. Luka Modric has not dipped in form, and that really is incredible. And truly, I do mean this. The only other player that I can really liken to him as far as trajectory in his 30s is Leo Messi. Messi, as he's gotten older, he's adapted his game, but not to a detriment. He's just found better ways to be more effective on the pitch. You could say the same things about Modric that you could say about Messi. They're less athletic, sure, but what has Modric done? He's just gotten even better on the ball. His IQ has gotten even higher as far as retaining possession and finding the exact right pass. And that's something you just can't teach. That is something that no other midfielder has at the World Cup. The IQ of Luka Modric. And Croatia still have that. Luka Modric is still, at 37 years of age, one of the best midfielders in the world. And Croatia have that in him in this midfield three. And alongside him is another one who did feature in 2018, Marcelo Brozovic. I think another good player that Croatia can really rely on to still be that defensive midfield pivot for this Croatian midfield. I think Brozovic, too, you could say the same thing, has not really dipped in form, and if anything, is playing high-flying football for a very good Inter Milan team, especially over these last 4 years, bro. Inter have been immense in Serie A. Brozovic has been a critical cog in Inter Milan's midfield for over these last 4 years. So Brozovic himself has not dipped in form whatsoever, combining with the midfield, but still doing his defensive duties. So from Modric and Brozovic, you've lost nothing, absolutely nothing from this midfield perspective for Croatia.
Dude, and that's perfectly said because you topped that off by the last midfielder that will be joining this lineup, and that is Mateo Kovacic,
yes,
who, if you look back at his role in 2018, was much more minimal back then.
Dude, it was.
Barely played, came off the bench for them, and I think he only started a couple games within their 6-game, 7-game run.
Yeah.
So Kovacic has also improved, has also developed these past 4 years to become that mature player that Croatia has needed in the midfield. So now you have 3 completely solid players that there's no questions to them. There's nothing you got to worry about when it comes to these 3 playing together as a fluid unit. That in itself will prove to be a huge factor in determining Croatia's success and ability to stay in any match whatsoever in this World Cup because of this midfield 3.
Absolutely. I think Kovacic fills the shoes that Ivan Rakitic left pretty well. Obviously, I will say I think Rakitic in his prime is better than Kovacic, but you're absolutely right. Kovacic has been playing top-tier football for his entire career. Ever since he was a late teenager, people knew the class of Mateo Kovacic. A couple of injuries and having Ivan Rakitic ahead of him definitely gave him less minutes inside this Croatia's midfield 3. But now this is his time. At 27 or 28 years of age, he is in his physical prime, and what better time to fit into this Croatian side than right now, man? And that's the thing. Regardless of how good Rakitic was, Kovacic is class, man.
Yep.
He really is. So good on the ball, really effective with short combination passes. And again, very similar to Rakitic as far as like his offensive involvement. I really do think so. Very fluid player, very good at rotating the ball, but gets involved offensively when Croatia have offensive maintained possession. So I really don't think Croatia lose a lot by kind of letting go of an older Rakitic and putting in a very informed Mateo Kovacic. And just looking at this midfield 3-man, and I could even say the same thing back in 4 years ago, even 6, 8 years ago for this Croatian side, bro. The class of the Croatian midfielder is ridiculous. I don't know what happened 20 years ago for Croatia to produce these type of technical players. It really does boggle my mind, and I'm curious to know the story of what happened because you already said it in the preview. Croatia really only popped off in 98. Mm-hmm. That's relatively short as far as like the footballing history is concerned. So what the hell happened for all of these really good footballers to flourish in Croatia over these last decade? I have no idea, but my God, dude, the quality and class and technique of a lot of these Croatian players is so impressive.
Yeah, man, you're right. It's pretty random. Like, At one point in time, Messi was just a newborn baby in Argentina, right? And then likewise, Ronaldo, a few years earlier, being born in Portugal. But then there was this prodigy just out here in Croatia.
Yeah.
Just molding his craft. This little short, blonde-headed, blue-eyed boy. Just keeping the ball away from everybody trying to get it from him.
Yeah.
And he just eventually ended up becoming one of the greatest midfielders of all time. It's so random that he is Croatian in that sense because, like you said, it's been a really fast development for that country in the international sense.
Exactly.
It's been really quick.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Argentina's always had the history of being great.
Yes.
Even Portugal have been relevant, even at club level in the 60s with Benfica.
Yeah.
So there's always been that history in those two countries. But, no disrespect, the Croatian league is really nothing to boast about when you talk about the footballing landscape of Europe. So absolutely, the speed at which Croatia has developed their players over these last 20 years, incredible.
Incredible, man. Sucic, the RB Salzburg attacking midfielder. I was thinking if there's any role for him on this team, he's only 20 years old, then it'd probably be like in a 60, 70-minute type of switch where they need a little bit more attacking from the midfield.
Yeah.
And he could come in and maybe provide a little bit more service to the offensive players. Is there any other player that got called up in the midfield that you think could maybe play a role for this Croatian team?
I think it depends on what Dalic kind of wants to do. I think Sušić would be a really good offensive option, but I do think it would be in a situation where they actually need a goal. I don't see Sušić playing in any other circumstance. And I think it's because he's really young, but he's also a little mistake prone, to be completely honest. He's not as reliable on the ball as the other three midfielders that we stated. And I think that's obvious, though. Another player that I think could play in this midfield three, but again, it just depends on what Dalic kind of wants to go for shape-wise, will be Mario Pasalic, the Atalanta midfielder who's been in this Croatian system for a while now and has been very good for Atalanta. In my opinion, has actually improved since Atalanta has made their Champions League appearances over these last couple of years. But Pasalic is a very good ball handler and may not be the most dynamic player, but again, as these other Croatian midfielders are, so skillful on the ball. If Kovacic just maybe he's having an off day, put in Pasalic in that position, I think he can do very well. The only thing is Pasalic also can play wide. So depending on what Dalic kind of wants to do.
I see him being a winger for this team, honestly.
That's the thing. Pasalic isn't necessarily an out-and-out winger, but he's very comfortable playing out wide. He's played both positions for Croatia, so I think it'll be purely preferential on whether Pasalic plays in the middle or out wide for Dalic.
For the most part, though, I feel like this Croatian team kind of writes itself, at least in the starting lineup. Since that midfield three is cemented in stone for me because every player just is perfect for what their role asks of them.
Yeah.
Transitioning into the offense, you have a seasoned veteran now in Ivan Perisic, 33 years old. You could say he's still not too old. He still has enough to have it in him, enough in the tank. And I think Tottenham saw that, seeing that he was playing very well at Inter Milan, buying him out just this past offseason, giving him the role of playing winger next to Harry Kane and Kulusevski. With how his career has progressed, he's become more of a serviceable type of player, just making sure that everyone's in the right spots, feeding these players and giving them good opportunities to score goals, but also just playing a really smart type of role, knowing how to make the right play at the right time. I think Perisic is just a really good player to have overall.
I see Perisic as one of the most reliable wingers in honestly all of European football. I think that's why Conte got him. Even at 33 years of age, Conte was like, buy me Ivan Perisic. And they listened to him. And look at what he's done. He's immediately come into this Tottenham team to be an incredible, reliable source of assists, but also good defensive displays, playing in maybe like a wing-back type of role for Tottenham. And he's done incredibly well at it. Has gotten a couple of assists this season. But you're right. He is not the out-and-out winger that he used to be. But I do think it's just simply because of his age. At 33 years of age, bro, you can't do that wing play like you used to. You just can't. There's no way. But in my opinion, I think Perisic has adapted to his age very, very well because, you already said it, he's so smart. Might be the smartest winger in Europe, in my opinion. And that's the thing. I trust him. I know there is question of his output. I don't care, to be completely honest. I trust this man with my life if I had to. Ivan Perisic, I think, is probably one of the more reliable front three players that you can have in any team, and Croatia still have that at 33 years of age. So, yes, he might not be able to finish those big chances, but maybe that's where some of these younger players come into play. And another thing, I think Perisic has actually kind of grown into the role of just solely supplying. solely feeding, only doing crosses rather than trying to penetrate, because he kind of knows he can't penetrate as well anymore. So, but he's still got an incredibly accurate foot. So I actually do think Perisic is aware of his own ability, and I actually think it's only helping him, to be completely honest.
I think the one counter I will have to your 2022-2018 Croatia comparison is that back in the day, Perisic was feeding these balls to Mandzukic, bro. And Mandzukic, let's not forget, at one point in time was scoring bicycle kicks in Champions League finals, man.
Right.
This guy was incredible and such a crucial part to the 2018 Croatia team. They don't have that level of quality anymore, man.
They don't.
So that's really the only spot where I'm like, 2018 was better in that sense, because Mandzukic was clinical, man. Yeah. Clinical. Yeah. And who do you have here instead? You have Hoffenheim's perhaps legend? I don't know if I can throw that one. Over 200 appearances for him.
Yeah.
Kramaric.
Been there for so long.
Kramaric. Been here for so long and was very good for them, bro. He had like a 6-season string where he had over 10 goals, like 20-goal season at one point in the Bundesliga. Just a proven scorer, but it's slowed down. He's 31 years old now. And these past 2 seasons, he hasn't been able to get over 10 goals. I don't know. I sense a little bit of maybe not being in his best form going into the tournament, but still being considered the number one option for that position, because the other options are interesting. Budimir, who's also up there as a candidate. You have Orsic.
There is actually a major dip in quality, I think, for this number 9 position. Kramaric has been with Croatia for a long time, as the same thing with Hoffenheim. He has been the go-to for Hoffenheim, and he's been like the go-to backup striker for Croatia for a very long time. The thing is, he's always had better strikers in front of him. Despite all that, I actually do have Kramaric starting. I think Dalic does actually trust him more so than any of the players that you just named. Specifically, I would say Budimir and Orsic. Orsic has tried so hard to get in this squad, bro. So hard. He's had to do the most for Zagreb just to even get looked at by Dalic.
Yeah.
And he gets the call-up. I think I could see Orsic maybe playing like 5-10 minutes if Croatia really do need a goal. And maybe if he performs well, maybe he'll get more minutes throughout the tournament. But I do see Kramaric starting. Another player that did get called up, Marco Livaja, who's played in so many different European countries. Las Palmas, also in Italy as well. Never fully convinced me personally, but he did get called up because I guess he's doing really well.
Yeah, the Livaja effect is interesting, bro. It's interesting because I looked him up, because I also looked down the lineup and I was like, who the hell got called up?
Yeah.
Who could be potentially in the striker position? And Livaja, Marco Livaja. I looked through his stats and I see the most jarring numbers, bro. 40 goals essentially in this past like 50, 60 games in the Croatian league.
Stupid,
I'm like,
man.
the Holland numbers in Croatia, huh?
It's better than Orsic, though.
Yeah.
Fuck?
Yeah, it's bizarre. 28 goals last season in the Croatian league, and then 11 goals this season so far in 16 appearances.
Oh my God.
Well on his way to 30 again.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. And so I'm just like, he's on fucking form. And if he just starts going off and training in the 1 week leading up to the tournament, I wonder if Dalic will look his way and honestly just consider the domestic league guy. I really do wonder. Yeah. But overall, I do think Kramaric starts, but there's some interesting arguments for other players. On the opposite wing side, it's the only other spot we're looking here to fill in. We mentioned Pasalic potentially could come in and fill in that spot. I think that's who's going to ultimately end up being the other winger for them.
Yeah.
The other person that I think could get a shout is Vlasic.
Vlasic is actually having a pretty good season. On loan from West Ham at Torino this year. He's got 4 goals, a couple of assists, I think. He's been really effective, honestly, out on that right wing position, in my opinion. But very similar to whether Dalic maybe goes with Kovacic or maybe Pasalic in that midfield position, I think it'll just be down to preference, whether Dalic prefers to play Pasalic out on that wing, or if he wants to go with a more traditional winger in Vlasic, who is having a good season out on that touchline. I think the player that will start probably will be Pasalic, especially since I think Kovacic has found a little bit of maybe more consistency with his Chelsea squad recently. So I could see Kovacic starting that midfield, thus making Pasalic be the wide winger / midfielder outright for Dalic. I think another guy that could maybe play in that right wing position, maybe even ahead of Pasalic, or at least off the bench, I do see this, is Lovro Majer, man. I see him as a kind of an X factor. Doesn't have an incredible output, but his ability on the ball exceptional. Loves to play out wide, but is not afraid to cut inside. I see him as almost like a kind of like a double-edged weapon in that sense. He's very crafty, but he's also deceptive because he's kind of a big guy, not very fast, playing out on that wing, but he makes up for it by just being very tricky on the ball. In the French league, I see Meyer as almost kind of like a creator, but from a very wide position. So maybe if Dalic doesn't want to go with a midfielder type in Pasalic, and if he doesn't want to go with an out-and-out winger in Vlasic, I could actually see him going with Meyer off the bench to just give literally anything, because Meyer does provide kind of like an X-factor play offensively.
At the back, though, it's also really kind of fascinating to see how they kind of switch things up in the build-up to this tournament, man.
This is crazy.
This one's crazy, yeah. We used to have names in this backline that, stood out to me so much with Vida being part of that 2018 Croatian squad and Vrsaljko, man.
Yes.
What happened to him, bro?
Yeah.
He was on Atleti for a while.
After he hit like 30 years of age, like 31, dude, he fell off.
Damn,
bro.
man.
Like he just lost all form. He had a really bad injury, and he's just never been the same since.
Yeah.
So much so, like he's pretty much done.
Yeah, I think
Like,
so. He's in Greece now or some shit.
Yeah, like he's done. As far as like elite football is concerned, Vrsaljko's done, and it sucks because he was a pretty good fullback. I really enjoyed his
good
play.
that tournament.
He was fantastic. But unfortunately, he's just one of those players where his age or his just genetics have gotten the best of him. Unfortunately,
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Because now there's other players here with. I predict Juranovic will start in his place now going into this tournament. Even at the goalkeeping position, we have a replacement with Livakovic coming in for Subasic, who was also really important. Damn, Croatia had a lot of names in that tournament, man.
Yeah, man.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
Livakovic coming in, and then the center backs, you have Deja Lovren potentially still being able to make a case for starting at this spot.
Yeah.
Or you also have an option in Gvardiol, who plays for Leipzig. And have you seen the price tag on this dude?
Oh no, dude, this guy's good.
Oh my God.
This guy's really fucking good.
Like, he's fucking good,
Yeah,
bro.
no, he's good.
70 million market value is what I saw on the fucking
yeah.
app that I use. Good Lord, dude.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
20 years old, had a crazy
20.
season last year.
Yes.
Incredible.
Dude, he's so
fucking
young.
team. So young.
So
And
young, but he's so good.
Croatia fucking knocked it out once again, man.
Yep.
And then another center back option, if needed, in Sutalo, who can also be nominated.
Yeah.
On the left side, though, we have a man that literally looks like he could be Link's offspring. Look him up. Link the video game. Looks like it could be his offspring, bro.
does,
He
he
looks
does.
to be an archer for his career. Borna Sosa. This dude has lit the Bundesliga on fucking fire, bro.
Yeah.
On fire. I think he has one of the highest cross rates in the league. I think it's like the fourth highest. At least that's how it was last year. Sending in crosses every single week for Stuttgart. The next man up, and he has this spot solidified for himself at the left back position. I predict the ultimate lineup will be Livakovic, a goalkeeper, Sosa on the left, Gvardiol, center back, Lovren, pairing center back, and then Juranovic on the right side.
I have the exact same 5 players
Nice.
starting for Croatia at the back, and I'll touch on each one. So Livakovic starting for Croatia really does intrigue me because he actually plays in the Croatian league, playing for
Hey.
Dinamo Zagreb, and he only has, I mean, like, especially compared to Subasic, only a handful of caps, bro. So Dalic has fully gone just, look, if you're in form right now and you're a goalkeeper, I'm trusting you. Subasic retired, obviously, from international duty, and so there was just wide open for a Croatian keeper to take the reins to be the number one. And I guess Dalic has gone with Livakovic. I'll be honest, haven't really seen him play. I think I saw one Zagreb game in the Champions League this year. I can't really say whether he's good or bad. Not 100% sure. But hey, really cool that he's gotten the nod to be Croatia's number one playing in the Croatian league. That's really cool because, again, I've already said it before. I love it when domestic league players get called up and actually play for their country. And Livakovic is certain to be one of them. On the right side, Juranovic having a good season for Celtic. And when I compare him to maybe what Vrsaljko once was, I'm actually not too worried, to be completely honest, because I think 2018 was Vrsaljko's like last good year, and he was already on the downturn, and he still put in a good performance. You said it before, seeing players like Modric, Brozovic and Perisic, I think actually does inspire a lot of these other Croatian fringe players. If I consider Juranovic to be kind of a fringe player who's very new to the system, I think he's just going to be inspired by this team, bro. I'm actually not concerned by him whatsoever. He's good on the ball, and from what I've seen at Celtic, I think he's actually a pretty decent fullback. So I'm not concerned in that position whatsoever, at least from a quality perspective, going from Vrsaljko to Juranovic. Going to the center backs, I do think Lovren is going to start. I think he's going to provide the only veteran experience in this entire back line, bro. I think Lovren's 33. Yeah, 33 years of age, still playing very well for Zenit St. Petersburg, playing every single game, week in, week out, captaining that back line, absolutely. And so I see Dalic completely trusting him. What is interesting, though, is that Domagoj Vida did actually get called up for this World Cup. But if I had to pick between Lovren and Vida, I think Lovren's just a little bit more surefire. He's a little bit more reliable at the back, especially when you look at maybe who's made more mistakes over their career. I would say Lovren has actually made a little bit less. So from that perspective, I think Lovren is the surefire center back in that position. Having Vida start alongside him, I don't think is actually going to happen because of the player you already mentioned, Gvardiol. Joško, one of the two. Joško Gvardiol, bro. Dude, I love this guy. You're a
big fan.
Big fan. Ever since he moved to RB Leipzig, I think it was either last year or 2 years ago, he actually started as a left back. And the reason was because he was incredibly good on the ball. What's interesting, though, is that his play at Leipzig has translated to a center back role. But he has not lost any of that ball handling ability. So now you have a ball handling center back who understands spatial positioning incredibly well. You need him to distribute from the back. He absolutely can do it. And you need him to defend one-on-one. Gvardiol's exceptional at doing that as well. So you have a near complete center back, although very young. That'd be the only criticism you could make about Gvardiol is that he actually does still make a couple of mistakes. I will say that. You can say with Leipzig, Gvardiol does make a couple of rash decisions. Maybe he comes out a little bit too early, but for the most part, Gvardiol is an incredible defender. And the fact that Croatia have that at 20 years of age, bro, in 4 years' time, he's going to be leading this back line. And then on the left back, you already said it, Borna Sosa, lighting up the Bundesliga from a full back position. I think he already has 5 assists.
Yeah.
5 assists from that left back position. Absolutely incredible. So when you compare him to what they had beforehand in Ivan Strinic, this guy's, in my opinion, although maybe a little bit less experienced, I think he's better. And I think he can provide a lot more offensively from that wing position for Croatia.
So a question I want to pose to the viewers is this team truly better than 2018's Croatia going into the tournament? Name by name, position by position, do you guys hop onto the Soltero wagon of this team being better than 2018? Let me know. Overall, though, I think 2018 was better, but this one is still very much a close competitor. And that is why when I transition over to predictions and I think about where I see this team going, it gets really tough for me, man, because this group is insanely difficult with the likes of Belgium, a Canadian team that can surprise, and an X factor, Morocco, who, if they show up, could actually fucking take it to a team, man.
They could.
So I'm looking at Croatia thinking, man, I really, really hope that you guys can show out, because I would hate for this to be the opposite, where they might have some good names, but at the end of the day, there's no chemistry, there's no flow, and they falter. They end up not being able to match up to the level of energy they had in 2018, and they fall short. I just have Canada making it out. Yeah. I have Canada making it out. I know, man. But for me, it's Belgium, Canada, Croatia, but I could very well see Croatia getting out. And so I want to make a point to be known that if Croatia makes it out, I will not be surprised. Right. I'll be completely behind them as well. I'll be like, good for them. They deserve it. No question about it. But if I got to, put my money, if I got to make my picks, if I got to let the people know who I think ultimately gets out, it's Belgium and Canada for me, man.
The way I see this Croatian side in 2022 is, as I already said it, I think more technically gifted than 2018. But beyond that, every single player that starts for this Croatian side, all of these 11 players, I think are in incredible form right now. Even if they're 20 years old or they're 37, every single player that starts for Croatia 2022 is in banging form. And I think that means a lot because you already kind of said it. In 2018, I do think they had to rely on grit a little bit more than they did on technique. I think now they can actually shift that a little bit. I think the players that they have are very confident right now. And I think that will allow them to outclass their opponents on the pitch rather than have to rely on sheer grit. One thing that's really convinced me is how dominant they ended the Nations League. Beating France and Denmark in their last 2 out of the 3 games. I think that meant a lot to me because they used this small core of veterans along with all of these youthful players that have come up to Croatia over these last 2 years, and they looked really good. But I think it's because every single player, even if they're 20 or 21, 22, is in incredible form right now. Look at Borna Sosa. Like, he has no right to be playing this good, but he just is. He's in incredible form personally, and translating that performance to the national team, I think, is very natural. I already said it before. The class of the Croatian player is higher than ever before. People talk about the golden generation 98, where I think they finished in 3rd place, you said. People talk about that second golden generation rebirthing itself in 2018. I don't think it stopped. That's how I see this Croatian side. I do not think it stopped. And for that reason, I have Croatia getting out of this group alongside Canada. And that means Belgium's not getting out of this group.
I can see that.
That's how it is.
That's not that crazy to me.
It's not that crazy.
I can see it.
Yeah. So I do have, no matter what happens, Croatia getting out of this incredibly hot group. And I say at least quarterfinals.
Damn.
At least.
Okay.
I think if they get out of the group, they're beating whoever they get in the round of 16, because I think whoever gets out of Group F first or second is gonna have to go through hell. They're gonna have to go through absolute hell. That they're gonna have a little bit maybe more oomph to win that round of 16, in my opinion. So if Croatia get out, I have them at least going to quarters, and at that point, depending on how high flying they're performing, I could see them going to the semis.
Folks, that wraps it up. Our last deep dive for the next 3.5 years until 2026. Croatia, thank you for being the last team.
Thank you.
We have completed 32 out of 32 teams at this World Cup.
Jeez.
Crazy, man.
That
what
is
a
crazy.
feeling, man. It is doing this outro for what will be the last time in a long time. Shout out to producer Rudd. Shout out to co-host Soltero. Shout out to myself and to everyone involved in the comments. My goodness, the way you guys have lit up the comments. It always makes my day seeing you guys comment and letting us know your thoughts. And I want you guys to do it one last time for me. One last time. Let us know. What do you think about this Croatian team at the 2022 FIFA World Cup? Do they get out in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th? Some fun announcements. Now that we completed deep dives, we will be uploading a final prediction video where we list out just the final predictions. You know, we kind of like tinker with ideas with our deep dives. We're going to solidify ourselves on who we have winning the tournament, because if you noticed, Soltero never truly mentioned who he thinks will win this tournament.
Right.
And he will have to reveal it. You'll have to reveal it, bro. You'll have to reveal it.
I'm stopping at the semis.
You'll have to reveal it in the World Cup prediction video, and that'll be coming out in a couple of days, if not the day after this video is released. Our schedule for the World Cup will be doing these live streams after the final game of the day, where we'll be talking about the games that happened that day in depth, discussing the emotion, just discussing everything that happened, reacting to them, and talking to you guys in the chat as well. So it'll be a really fun time for the Give and Go community, and we cannot wait, man. The World Cup is right here. It's right there, man, and I just cannot wait to see it. Have a good day, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching these deep dives, and we'll see y'all soon. Peace.